me? I can
Um,
check.
yeah, I can, but apparently we're not live again. I mean, this is a mess.
YouTube. All right, there you go.
I'm quitting my job today, I feel like.
I mean, if you know invest.
I guess we're live. Just
We
when
are?
I'm telling people that I'm quitting my job. That's a nice start to have. Are we though? Like, are we really?
I don't see it on YouTube.
I don't see it as well. Just do some checking. I won't be surprised if we're not live again, but it seems like we're live. No, apparently no.
All right.
We should be, but we're not. I feel like we kind of have to find a way to go live, maybe outside this freaking platform.
I mean, we can go live directly on YouTube. Go live. Let's see if I can invite someone to go live. Set up a live stream now, don't worry. Or we can go live on Discord.
We should be going live though, because you know the toggle says we're live and that it's connected to our YouTube, so it doesn't really make sense.
Right.
I hear my team member saying that there is a problem, and she kind of feels like she knows what to do.
All right.
But it's been like 15 minutes. Her telling me that she kind of knows what to do, so I'm hoping that this time it's true.
But yeah, we can always go live on the Discord one, but then it's not recorded. And then I can go live directly from my private YouTube and maybe invite you.
Oh, I think we're live now. Because it looks like
my private YouTube and maybe invite you. There you go.
Yeah, we are live.
All right.
Okay, my team's happy. I'm happy, and I'm not quitting my job today anymore. Okay, then I feel like we can just kick this off to, you know, not to waste your time anymore, because we're already like past 15 minutes. Okay, so hi everybody who's watching, and welcome to Swapzone's AMA sessions, where we dissect projects we support, worship, and adore. In case you have no idea what Swapzone is, we're an instant crypto exchange aggregator, and we empower the Verge fam with one-stop solution to get XVG at the best rate, with no registration and, most importantly, no custody, because guess what? Not your keys, not your crypto. And today we take a closer look at Verge, a secure and user-friendly cryptocurrency project. And we're joined by Alex Ederer, who does pretty much everything for Verge. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Pauline. I don't do programming.
Yeah, that's one thing that Alex can't do, but I'm sure you would be able if, you know, we would pay you and you would just find people, you know?
Yeah, then I would find people.
Yeah.
That's really what I did. What I do.
Money, finding people, you know, the usual.
But no one pays me for Verge. I do it out of passion. You know, we say Verge fam because we're a family.
And because Verge fam is a community-driven project. And that's
exactly.
What Okay, so now let's talk about the journey of Verge, but from a somewhat different perspective, you know. Now, 2020 became the year for Verge, you know. You've achieved many milestones, you've expanded the community, your outreach, but, you know, I'm sure it wasn't always that way, and it wasn't always so sunny in Verge. Like, were there any challenges the team had to face along the way? Because there must be some. You know, Verge has been on the market for like, what, 6 or 7 years now?
Almost 7 years, yeah. Yeah, we're an older project, so our blockchain was tested many times, and I mean, still this February, people tried to attack the chain, and it left us down for a week. But yeah, the strength of the chain was that the community got together and basically was like, hey, there's a problem. We need to find a solution because there's empty blocks being mined, and somebody had tried to reorganize the chain for 6 months, and it hit everywhere. that like, you know, Pornhub's favorite crypto got attacked and whatever, but the community got together and the miners stopped mining and everybody got together to find a solution. And for like 3 days, I think no one slept, and we were just trying to figure out, okay, how do we stop this reorg attack? And then in the end, we got together and we were able to prevent all of this loss. And after a week, we did push some updates, and there's some new wallets that came out, and the community got behind us, and we rolled out all these new wallets, and the chain was back to normal. But people who were stuck on exchanges were, you know, not able to withdraw for longer periods because, like you said at the beginning, not your keys, not your coin. So if you have your keys in an exchange, and you know you want to trade, but the exchange hasn't updated to the new wallet, you can't. So some exchanges allow you to trade, but you wouldn't be able to withdraw. So Verge is a currency, of course. So if you want to pay for something in Verge, or you want to send your currency somewhere, but it's stuck on an exchange, unfortunately, this is, you know, what happens. So yeah, that was in February. But yeah, I'm really happy. It was one of the first times that like the community did something. Justin is always there, but he wasn't actually available this weekend when this happened. So it was actually like people from around the community getting behind and then working on a solution together. And then when Justin came back, like, hey, this and this happened, but this is what we did, and this worked. And it was really awesome. It was really cool to see the community get together behind an attack. And it shows that, yes, decentralization and distributed is an awesome way to go. Centralized has its issues, but it also shows that the power of a community backing the chain makes it stronger. So that was the most recent challenge we had for Verge. We've had other challenges in the past. In 2018, somebody tried to do the same thing, and we had to fork the chain in emergency to block those coins from releasing into the market. And you know, there's these things that happen beforehand. But I joined the project in 2018. Because I think one of the major challenge Verge has is that we are community driven. And like we said at the beginning of the video, Pauline, we're all volunteers. So it means if somebody's not comfortable on a camera, no one's going to go on the camera. And I've been volunteering for Verge for what? Almost 3 years now. And I would do little camera, like, you know, that little round camera thing you can do on Telegram with your phone. So I would, thank you, Nicola. Oh yeah, the link for the YouTube needs to go out on Twitter.
I should kind of give a heads up to my team, I guess.
I will put this on the Telegram. This is an interactive live stream.
Yeah, I mean, when I told you the week is a mess, I meant it. I really meant it.
Yeah, I mean, c'est la vie.
That's a nice way of putting things, you know?
I mean, I have the firm belief that in life, nothing happens or everything happens at once. So generally, you take those moments when nothing happens to prepare for that one day where like you get hit with like 50 million new things and you're like, okay, what do I do now? And that's kind of like you said, 2020 was a big year for Verge. I think it's mainly because since 2018, we were reorganizing the community. We were not centralizing, but just diversifying the like the core community was no longer just on Discord, and it was Discord, Telegram, Facebook, Twitter. We were everywhere. So we just reorganized everything so that people had new channels. They knew who the points of contacts were in different languages. We had a great developer from the Netherlands help us and create a bot on Telegram that we were able to put in like all of the different communities. I think we have like 20 different channels in different languages, from Russian, Spanish, Dutch, German, Korean, Vietnamese, and most recently, Turkish community that went from like one dude on Twitter asking me about it to 2,000 members in like a week and a half. So like, this is so awesome to see communities self-organize like this. And yeah, what we needed to do was just keep pushing the message, but also make sure that the message goes out there. And so I study management and marketing in Germany. And one of the things that, like, you know, Coca-Cola is the only company that the word Coke is the same in every language. People know what you mean because it's Coke. Like, it's just this drink. And, you know, Coke spends, I think it's a company that spends the most on marketing every year to make sure people remember what Coke is. So at the end of the day, Verge is the same thing it always was. It's a distributed blockchain with a community behind it. And we need to keep pushing that message. And like we were saying earlier, it took me 3 years to be comfortable doing AMAs on YouTube and like answering these questions in actual live format. Before that, I was like, yeah, I can do these little videos on Telegram, but I don't feel comfortable doing these things. So it's a practice that you get. And yeah, now I feel comfortable, so it's fine.
I should take lessons from you, I feel like.
I don't know, too much caffeine. I talk too much.
Well, I do drink coffee a lot, so that doesn't help, I guess.
I mean, you know, it's the point is to be yourself and be natural. And I feel like a lot of people try to be cool and to use, hey, Lloyd is my man from the UK. He's an awesome community member. He's not in the core team or anything, but Lloyd is one of the first people I've known in crypto since before I joined Verge. We used to be in the like just Verge Telegram, and we would say, yeah, the price would go up to 15.98, and it just, you know, as a joke, there's 16.5 billion Verge. So I just want to say, as a core team member, we don't comment on the price, but Lloyd and I used to joke about this all the time. So we're team 1598. And yeah, he actually helps me out all the time when I have to write letters. I am a certified English teacher, but when I have to write professional letters and stuff, he helps me with the emails, and he helps Verge a lot in the background through me. So he's a super awesome community member. And that's what makes Verge awesome. Like, my best friend in Germany is another dude I met in the Verge Telegram, Eska. He lives like 2 hours away from where I live. No, an hour and a half by train. Less if you have a car, but you know, student budget. So it's awesome. You meet such cool people. And when I went to the Netherlands, when I go to Amsterdam before all this happened, you know, I would meet community members, or people were, hey, you're on the Verge team. Tell me about Verge. So to go back to Coca-Cola, you have to keep repeating the message, and you have to be out there and tell people what it is. And Nicola, that says I'm best on camera with my uncombed and unbrushed beard.
That's true.
Basically, she's working on an ambassador program so people know what I know, and so that they can do what I do, because I'm alone, and you know, I also need to get a job at one point. I can't be on the camera repeating Verge is decentralized, it's a community, and if you want to see something happen with Verge, do it yourself. That's what we repeat all the time. You know, don't ask us to do it yourself. If you ask me something, if you need the resources, you need a programmer, you need, you know, I know people, so I'll hook you up with the people I know. But outside of that, man, I can't code. I can correct your English, but I can't spend every day correcting everybody's English. So I can't ask Lloyd every time to correct my English. Nicola does, though. But
that's a nice way of putting it, honestly, because, you know, it's all about like network. It's all about connection. And it doesn't matter whether it's like crypto or your internal stuff and internal communication between, you know, core members, the community, just people joining the Verge fam and so on, you know, and like connecting all those professions and fields. I saw that someone from your team actually like a marine engineer in the past.
Yeah, Mihail. Actually, he flew yesterday. I think he's in quarantine now, and he's going on a boat again. Yeah, he's on the team, and at the same time, like Gil Linsner, for example, he's Verge ambassador. Basically, he's a race car driver from Luxembourg, racing in the U.S., and he paid to have his car branded with Verge, and he's doing a crowdfund right now so that his the next season is completely paid by Verge in the community, so that he can advertise not only that he's the first European in the Pro Late Model series, but also he's the first community-driven project that's backing him racing. So the donations that go to him are awesome. You can use Swapzone to exchange any other crypto into XVG and then send it to him to like fund his thing. So get rid of your other coins and spend Verge. Like I say, hodl Bitcoin and spend Verge. Or actually, before this interview, Pauline and I were talking about this, and I'm like, trade other coins. Trade whatever coins you want, accumulate wealth, and then buy Verge to spend Verge. That's what Verge is. We're a currency. So
you've touched upon so many topics I want to talk to you about. So let's just go back a bit to that reorg attempt.
Yeah.
How did the situation make you, revamp your security measures and approaches to just basically like privacy matters?
Well, I don't know how it would affect privacy, but all the transactions on the blockchains are routed through Tor, and basically, so all the metadata is masked when you use Verge. So we offer privacy on a public blockchain. So we're not an anonymity coin. We're a coin that gives you privacy when you do purchases. So basically, the analogy I like to give about Verge is when you go to an ATM not far from the store and pull out money so that you can pay cash in the store because you don't want your credit card person to know that you're buying cigarettes. I mean, when you use your bank card or your credit card, you're basically telling your bank, you're telling MasterCard everything you're purchasing. Like, they know everything. I work for a bank, I can tell you, like, the data that goes through the banking, in roughly 10 minutes, I can see who you are as a person. Like, I can see the patterns of your drinking behavior, from looking at your last 3 month statements on your credit card or your bank card. So Verge for me is like the freedom of this, because you can just take out cash and pay in Verge, and then on the blockchain, it'll just show blockchain to address. You can figure out which address is which, but you can't figure out whose address is what. I can just make a new address, transfer them to my new address, and then somebody would have to figure out, one user. It's a lot of information to find out. So, but yeah, the reorg attempt had us we had to modify the blockchain. I wrote extensively about it. It's been a while, so I'm not well versed on it, but you can check on the Verge mediums. I wrote it's called Reorg Attempt Aftermath, where I basically explained what we did afterwards. But basically, we put a new wallet with a timestamp to stop people from being able to reorg beforehand, and the security was mainly bought by the community. The security is the community around the chain. People are like, hey, something's happening. We shouldn't mine anymore. Let's stop. And then everything stopped. That's the security. It's the community getting behind the chain and saying, hey, this doesn't look right. And that's awesome. A lot of blockchains don't have this. They just have people mining that don't care. And in the case of Verge, people mine because they care. So it makes us very different than most projects out there. We're a currency, but we have a community backing this currency saying, hey, we're here for you guys and we're defending you.
So that's what I was interested in, to know your main outtake, which is, I guess, that, the community always has your back and you don't necessarily need, additional mechanisms to prepare yourself for a potential attack in the future, because you kind of know for sure that the community will be there to, to safeguard everything.
No, there are changes that were made to prevent this again. I mean, it's kind of crazy to not defend yourself if there's a solution, So we did implement changes to the blockchain, and I think there's going to be more changes to the blockchain coming up. So there is work being done in the background to make sure that the same kind of attacks don't work, right? But blockchain is a relatively newish technology, right? So there's always new technologies coming out, and there's always new vectors of attack. But we're always on the lookout. And as an open source project, people can come in and say, hey, we have this solution, we can implement this. And this is taken into consideration. And then, you can just go and offer your solution. So this is a really cool, like we don't just sit there and say, yeah, the community will defend us. That would be foolish. But it's awesome to know that if something happens and the technology isn't up to par, the community backs us. But with this aspect, basically we are modifying the chain to prevent this. We did release wallets that prevent a 6-month attack from happening, but we also have the community. It's a second vector of defense, which is really awesome. It's loyalty to a distributed project. So.
Right, now let's move on to like blockchain things. Verge is believed to be improving upon the original Bitcoin blockchain, right? And
yes.
you support multiple algorithms. Wow, I'm like, I'm a
5 algorithms.
Yeah. Could you dwell on that, on how exactly Verge manages to, tackle pain points of the original Bitcoin chain?
Well, so Bitcoin, I think you were around in 2018. So you remember at one point there's over 100,000 unconfirmed transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain because, it was first time Bitcoin was at like 20,000 and everybody was going crazy. So Bitcoin was super slow and the fees, it's kind of today's Ethereum basically, where the fees are ridiculous and you can't do anything without paying huge amounts of money for small transactions. So Verge was designed for everyday use. So we have a block time of 30 seconds. The 5 algorithms, I think we're only like 2 or 3 projects that have multiple algorithms now, make it so that people can mine Verge however they want. So that you can mine Verge at home, you can mine Verge at work, you can mine Verge using different methods. So you're not limited to just graphic cards or just CPUs. You have those different methods. And with a block time of 30 seconds, there's a new block every 30 seconds with 100 transactions per block. So it means that for most transactions, everything is done within seconds, right? So you don't need to worry that these transaction times will take forever. The more people mine Verge, the more the blocks can be pumped out and the more transactions can happen. So it scales upwards. And at the same time, our fees are 0.1 like XVG per transaction. So it's way cheaper for people to use Verge to send money than it is for Bitcoin or most other projects, to be honest.
Which kind of makes Verge then like more accessible than other coins as well for, for like population that has, maybe some financial struggles and so on.
Exactly. Like I would never tell someone to buy Verge and then hodl if you're in a poor situation. But a lot of people, like, I'm Canadian living in Germany, right? So if I have to send money to someone back home, I'm like, hey, get Verge and then go on this exchange, swap it for like, Bitcoin and then cash it out. And you'll have that money in 20 minutes.
Is that also a reason why you have like a pretty high limited supply? Just, to make sure that it's still there and it's still accessible and the fees are low and the price is somewhat fine.
So the whole point of the supply is basically so that people can spend full numbers and not fractions. Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to pay you 0.05 Bitcoin. It's like, okay, I'll send you 50, like, let's say 50 XVG or 500 or 5,000. I have no idea how much 0.05 Bitcoin is in Verge. I don't check the price.
And so, I'm not good with numbers, so,
But, if you're not a numbers person, if I tell you a banana costs 5 Verge or the banana costs 0.00035 Bitcoins, what's easier for you?
I feel like 5 is easier to understand than, having those zeros and points.
Yeah, and I have an anecdote that was kind of funny. I was trying we had a discussion where I was trying to say, what's the smallest, like, what do we call the smallest number of like Verge? And people were like, why would we do this? Like Verge is there's so many Verge out there to be spent in like a whole number and not a fraction. Why would we give a name to something that's fractional when you can use 10 Verge to pay for something,
Right.
Like I bought a Nintendo 3DS in 2018 for I think 2,700 Verge, and I bought a TV in early February from my friend. I bought 50 euros of Verge and sent 50 euros of Verge to my friend for his old TV. I have no idea how much it was worth, but we use it as a currency, and that's what I always tell people. Like you should hodl Bitcoin and buy Verge to spend Verge, because I mean it's in the name, Verge currency, not Verge stock share, not Verge you'll get rich off of it in 2 years Verge. No, it's Verge currency. So if you have family living outside and you even actually Sven, the developer that made the best iOS wallet for crypto, the Verge wallets, the mobile Verge wallet, and the Verge Lite wallet, my Verges for desktop. We went for beers in Hengelo. It's not too far from where I live in the Netherlands. We're both not from there. That's why I don't mind saying the name. And we went for beers, and for some reason, I think the ATM machine was down in the bar, so I couldn't pay with my card and tell people, hey, I'm in this town drinking beer. And he was like, yeah, I'll cover you. And then I went home, bought some Verge, and paid him off in Verge. Because that's literally what you're supposed to do. That's what we tell people.
Then, speaking of like real world use cases, which ones would you name to convert the non-crypto community into joining the Verge fam?
Pardon? Which
real world use cases would you name to convert the non-crypto community into joining the Verge fam? These non-believers that do not understand that, Verge could be $1.
I mean, the best use case for me is when you have, I forget the name now, but when you use Western Union or TransUnion to send money abroad, like you have 10% fees, 7% fees, like you have these ridiculous fees. And my solution to people is, find a local fiat thing, buy Bitcoin, and convert it on an exchange to Verge, send Verge to whoever it is that you want to transfer the money, and they can do the same thing. It would be way more awesome if these exchanges started listing Verge with fiat, because the more fiat pairing, the more people can actually use us as another crypto, as a fiat, right? Like our goal is not necessarily to convince people to trade, and we're not trying to get people to, we're not a stock again. So we want people to use us as a replacement to fiat. So the more these exchanges list us with stable coins or fiat, the more we can convince people to use Verge as a solution to send money abroad. And I think remittance, that's the word in English. There you go. The remittance market is one of the biggest markets for people sending money abroad. And I think that's what Verge is right now. The more we get people doing remittance in other countries like India, Philippines, Mexico, South America, the more people start using Verge to send money to themselves or their families abroad, the more they realize the value of Verge, and the more they realize the value of blockchain and cryptocurrency as a whole. But outside of that, in terms of to reach for mass adoption, it's not a lamp bane, it's just a drinking horn. I'm a Viking at heart. But I was thinking of putting an LED candle inside to make it a lamp. But right now the best user case, I guess, access we have the adult industry with MindGeek. So in case you have kids viewing, this part is 18 plus. Pornhub pays off in crypto their models with only 2 cryptos. There's USDC, I think, or USDT on the Tron blockchain, and Verge currency. But USDT is a stable coin, whereas Verge is an actual currency. We're the only ones that have this option as a payout. So yeah, you can pay with Litecoin, you can pay with Bitcoin, you can pay with Monero, you can pay with all these other coins to buy your subscription. But when it comes to getting paid, like the actors, and I know a lot of people used to say, yeah, it's only porn, but you're all happy that you're listed on Pornhub now, so don't lie. We were the first, and we're still the only actual distributed and decentralized currency being used as an actual cash option, which is huge. Like when PayPal and MasterCard cut off the models, we had an influx of models asking us, okay, how do I cash out for fiat? And, you know, like it shows the limitations of the cryptocurrency thing is a lot of exchanges ask Verge to pay to have fiat pairing or stablecoin pairing. And as a community project, we can't do this. So we're always telling people, well, you know, these exchanges need to list USDT, need to list Euros coin, need to list any fiat and any crypto pairing, because you can get more customers. You get the people who are actually getting paid in Verge. So that's really like the limitations for Verge right now is the fiat accessibility. I am working on something really interesting coming soon with this for European users. So this is to stay tuned. But yeah, the mass adoption is coming through people getting paid in Verge. So I can't wait till I can go to like Christmas markets in Europe after this whole lockdown stuff is over and pay with Verge for like, you know, mulled wine, glühwein, or, you know, any kind of Christmas market food. So that's really, when that happens for me, I'll be really happy. Right now, I'm really stoked to see Gil Linsner with his race car showing race fans around the world that, you know, Verge is a currency. He's the first European again in the Pro Late Model series, and that's huge. But what's huge is he's being backed by an open source, open access community project. The only thing similar to this, I think, was the like Dogecoin bobsleigh team for Jamaica. That's also a really cool story. And this is what Verge is doing too. So we're the only, I don't think there's been any crypto projects that's been involved in race cars. So, and now here's Verge doing this. And again, at the beginning of the video, I think the link wasn't live, so I just want to mention, you can swap any other crypto like Bitcoin or Litecoin, you know, that you've been hodling, convert it to Verge on Swapzone and send Verge to Gil so that, you know, his team and his trailer and his car all decked out in Verge stuff. And if you give Verge, you can also send him your address in DM and your name, and he'll put your name on the car, which is an awesome opportunity. If Swapzone wants to donate too, you could probably get Swapzone on the roof of the car too. So just a suggestion.
You know, I feel like we should hire you as a marketing specialist because you know what you do.
I mean, that's what we talked about my ex-girlfriend a little bit in private, and that's why I came to Germany, right? And I started studying business management as a way to stay in Germany with her. And when I joined Verge in 2018, I had to choose my specialization. So I chose marketing because I feel that like Verge didn't have that specialty on lockdown. Like Verge is huge. The name is huge. It had a lot of like, you know what, like we said earlier, it's a almost 7-year-old coin. In October, it'll be 7. But we have a lot of people and the logo, and there's a lot of fake news out there. One that I want to say, you know, Dogecoin is not, like, we never forked from Dogecoin. We originally forked from Peercoin, but now we're Bitcoin fork. So please stop repeating this. You can visit the old Dogecoin dark GitHub. It's DOGED on GitHub, and the code is still there. So if you're a crypto news outlet and you're still repeating this lie, I just want to say you're fake news and you shouldn't be paid whatever it is you're paid.
Spilling the tea here.
Yeah, actually, you know what I found out? So we were talking about the like reorg. Somebody just copy pasted word for word my Medium, put his name on it, and posted it on a crypto news thing. So when I Googled Verge reorg attempt, because I'm too lazy to go on Medium and find it, the first link I came out was another crypto news source, and it was word for word my text. And I'm like, hey man, at least give me some kind of ad revenue or something, you know? Like your SEO ranking is higher than the Verge Medium, and now you're stealing my text on top of it. Nice. But you know what? I don't really care. It flatters me.
Like, I mean, that just shows how impressive your writing skills are, right?
Imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery, but I can't. My writing skill is converting engineering and heavy blah 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 writing into accessible English, because I don't want to be mean, but engineers and lawyers and highly specialized people talk to non-highly specialized people with the same vocabulary that they would talk to each other. And not to toot my horn, but I understand a lot of these things, so I can dumb it down for people who aren't like this. Mainly because, I don't know, I like hanging out with smarter people than me, so I try to understand their stuff. And I like to explain it to people that are not as specialized in those fields. So blockchain is a highly specific field. You can ask Nikki, Nicola in the comments. She's writing for the Verge Ambassador program, and she said, Alex, I need you to dumb it down even more. And I'm like, yo, at this point, I can't write it for kids. Like, I can't. I'm unable. Like, it hurts me to try to write it simpler. Like, you know, I explain blockchain like Lego, where, you know, every block is its own Lego, and then you can put a mark. Every transaction is a mark on that Lego block, and then you build on top of it. And then each of those lines that you put on the block, like Robinson Crusoe, you know, on the stone for the days, each of those mark is a string of hash, and that string of hash is actually the information transferred on the blockchain. That's as dumb as I can explain blockchain. I can't go simpler than this. And if you try to do this again, it hurts me. I'm like, at this point in life, if you need to like have Goo Gaga blocks in the shape of a sun and moon, I can't help you.
But like at the same time, I feel like we should have people that would be able to dumb it down even more, you know, just to propel this mass adoption.
Yeah.
And to convert everyone to the Verge fam.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the ambassador program is. Not to put pressure on Nikki. Not to put pressure on Nikki, but she said it's coming out this weekend. So guys, just bug Nikki if you want to be an ambassador. Again, don't ask for freebies. If you're an ambassador, you're doing this for free. You're basically going to represent the Verge community. So please don't do crazy stuff. You know, no asking for pumps, no asking for, you know, some I won't say who crypto celebrity that's basically the 2021 version of McAfee in 2018. So, you know, that's not something that we're looking for. We're not looking for price action. We're looking for actual monetary action. We want people to use Verge as a replacement to bank transfers. We want people to use Verge as a currency. So that's what you should all know if you're going to be an ambassador. It's how to make people understand that Verge is a currency. It's an alternative to the euro. It's an alternative to the USD.
Okay, now let's then continue with this ambassadorship and all. Who came up with the idea to create this Fueled by Verge initiative?
I believe it was Mark and Derek. Basically, Derek is the father of Danny Robertson, who's our awesome motocross rider. And there's also a couple. Now I just know Night Shadow was his Twitter handle, and his wife that were working on this too. And they basically were like, hey, yeah, it's a good way to reach into esports and also the next generation of crypto users, so the kids. Like Danny was 10 when he started doing motocross, and this kid was awesome. So basically the community got behind him and started being like, yeah, this kid paid out of pocket. I mean, I guess it's his dad, but, you know, they paid out of pocket to have a Verge branded motorcycle, and they paid out of pocket to have a Verge helmet. And that just started this movement. And then Gil Linsner from Luxembourg basically jumped on board. And we had an old core member named Tim, I think, who reached out to him. I'm not too sure. I actually don't really know how this will happen, because they were they were the first kind of ambassadors for us. The ambassador program happened afterwards, but they were the kind of like, hey, we're going to represent Verge in our own capacity, in our own field. And that's what I tell people. Like, you have a job, right? You work for an exchange, but other people work in a grocery store, other people work in logistics. There are ways that you can associate blockchain technology to whatever it is that you do. And if you need help finding a solution as to how to do it, that's what I do. So that's why I studied business. I want to see how we can use, how we can use Verge to work on this thing. And at one point we will have smart contracts. So when that happens, we'll be able to even more advance the user case of Verge for specific tailoring. But right now you can use Verge as a currency. So yeah, you should represent Verge in your capacity. Even if nothing comes out of it, that's something that you should do. You should say, hey, yeah, I know this currency and you should use this.
You know what I also like about like Fueled by Verge is that you kind of encourage individuals and other projects as well, not just, asking them to spread the word and, expand the outreach, but you actually give them promo as well. I mean, as far as I see it. And it kind of reminds me of like Red Bull's mythology and their way of, doing marketing things, because they promote other things and create brand awareness for themselves. Yeah. Which is kind of nice.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like we were talking about earlier before the live stream went live about how like we're not paid, right? But you mentioned in this live stream that Verge is a network, and the best payment, really the best thing. Like, so I got this shirt from Crypto Well or Well Apparel, who used to be on the core team. And he sent his shirt for the Rotterdam meetup, and that was the first time, besides the people who paid for me to go to the Amsterdam meetup and for the Rotterdam meetup, this was the first time I got something tangible from the community. And I'm so grateful for this sweater. So even though it has the old logo, it means so much to me, because people go out of their way to give you a little thing, but it's a token of appreciation. And like the Verge fam, even if you work like for Gil, for example, or for Danny with his motocross, or for the esports people who join on, the people who are part of this community, the greatest thing is the network. Like, I got to meet you. I got to meet the other Pauline from Change Now. And, now I know two Paulines.
Hair.
Yeah, she has the coolest hair. I think she has the coolest hair in crypto, just flat out there. But you have all these other people that I get to meet, right? That I would never meet. Like, I'm a Canadian that speaks French and English in Germany, and like I also speak some German now, but I get to meet people from around the world just because I put my face out there. Like the Mehmet who reached out to me on Twitter to start the Turkish Telegram that grew to 2,000 people. Awesome guy. Like, this really makes me happy. Like, I get up in the morning, I'm like, I'm poor, I have my dog, I have my girlfriend, I'm happy. But like, I have this community that if I could afford to travel, I'd just go around and I'd meet all these people and I'd be like, this is awesome. Like, it is really awe-inspiring to know the people that I know. And I wouldn't have known any of these people because of Verge. And that's the community feeling. So really,
just let's leave it out there for everyone who's watching. We kind of need to gear up, Alex, with a new t-shirt or a new sweatshirt, I don't know, with a new logo of Verge. So in case anyone wants to, donate everything and all, just go ahead.
I can, Carla, you just went live.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the dog is on the couch, so.
I'm giving her the medicine.
All right. I hope she's okay. I can mute the microphone for a second if you want.
I don't want to distract you, go on.
All right. But yeah, basically, yeah. honestly, I can buy a new shirt on the Verge store. We have a store, vergecurrency.store. So if you want to support us, you can also buy your Verge apparel with the new logo. And there's one with really nice bussy covers. Nikki really hates it, but it's awesome, the best shirt. It just needs to have XVG Ninja on it, and then it's the actual best shirt. But yeah, Nikki, appreciate the bus seat pattern shirts. But yeah, the feeling of community that's behind Verge is really what makes us going. Like Mihail, for example, he's kind of like the Verge daddy in the sense that like everybody complains to him whenever there's something, and then he's the marine engineer that you were saying earlier, and like he gets to travel, and it's like, yo, when you're stuck in lockdown, let's have a beer over Zoom, and then we talk about dogs, and sometimes I'm not going to say what I read, but it's really, really like rancid. Some of I like to read random stuff off the internet, and the internet has really weird stuff. So
yeah,
you can join the Verge Discord, and you can hear me out when I read these things on the social, on the live Discord thing. But yeah.
So you have your own poetry sessions when you read out some random things that captivate you.
So I'll just say there's a Facebook group called Jade's Badly Written Erotica, and it's basically like men writing erotica, and it makes me laugh so hard about what people have misconceptions about adult bodies and their functions that it hurts my ribs. So yeah, it's nice to read this for people, because I try to take the women's voice and I try to take the men's voice, and then I just read it as terrible as possible and not laughing. The key is to not laugh while reading it, and it's just yeah, I don't know. It's a really bad hobby, but it's hilarious.
Maybe Verge should partner with a platform that has some sexual education content.
Actually, I think Pornhub has this already.
I mean, porn being educational.
No. Pornhub has an educational aspect. Yeah, they have. I remember seeing something about it, because some places have too much. So I don't want to disparage people's individual beliefs, but some places, don't believe public schools should have any kind of sex education. So people's only sex education is via porn, which is terrible. Which is absolutely terrible, but they actually do have this. So
that's at
the end of the day, this is a different topic. So
we should have another AMA session for this purpose only.
I mean, my friends have been bugging me to have live YouTube about Alex talks about the world, where I just make fun of stuff. But yeah, I tend to rant. So.
Well, if he decides to, take on this, please.
I told him to, and he doesn't want to. I mean, so I have a Yeti Pro mic from 3 years ago, because we wanted to do this. And in the end, it was just, no, okay, wait, I want to take a moment of talking about random stuff to say, we're not pumping Verge, guys. If you want Verge to pump, well, sell it and go find another coin. This is not... we're a currency, not a stock token. We're not Dogecoin. We're not some DeFi crap token. No offense to DeFi tokens. Some are really awesome, I guess, but others, yeah.
So much.
Yeah, I mean, man, some are anonymous developers pushing out coins, and then people are like, oh no, rug pull. I could never see this happen. Safe nothing. But yeah.
We should have called this session Alex spilling tea, bossing around.
I'm out of coffee. Also coffee high. Oh, and my puppy's running around.
Yeah, let's talk about, your past. You majored in political studies, although you didn't finish it, right?
Yeah.
And, before jumping into business management and marketing and so on, I feel like we have to touch upon some, related and rather controversial topics that are being actively discussed now.
Sure.
So, governments nowadays, they go from one extreme to the other, imposing bans and introducing anti-crypto laws. Have Verge been affected by any of this? And what's your like overall outlook on this sort of thing?
Actually, for Verge, it's kind of cool because, like I said earlier, we offer privacy on a public blockchain. So most of the anti-privacy laws, are made for anonymity coins. And since Verge offers privacy on a public blockchain, we actually aren't hit by this. So that was really awesome. Basically, yeah, like I said, basically, since we have a public blockchain where transactions are verifiable, like they'll just get an address to an address, but the transactions are there. We survive. So that's really cool. Basically, we offer privacy on what Satoshi Nakamoto wanted with Bitcoin, a public blockchain with a public ledger. So I think people often forget that the Bitcoin white paper basically said that it's important to have public ledgers because we want transactions to be verifiable. So if there is an attack on the blockchain, you can see it. So I'm not going to say anything about anonymity coins, but since Verge is doing privacy on a public blockchain, we follow in those steps. So by doing so, we aren't targeted by privacy laws. I think it's weak from the governments to ban technology that they don't know, because the more that they ban stuff, the more it actually exists. So it's like prohibition with alcohol, or the like any kind of, I think any kind of laws that say you can't do this will just lead people to do it in the background. So I'm a huge fan of Portugal decriminalizing old drugs. Before going into business, I used to be a more left-wing political party member in Canada, and I co-sponsored a bill for the youth party to decriminalize old drugs, and that's still my opinion. We should look at treatment and prevention instead of banning people and arresting them. So I know this goes against a lot of people in terms of morality, but I don't consider myself moral. I consider myself ethical, which is also a huge other topic. So yeah, I really don't think we should ban anything. I want to take a moment. In the chat, there's a dude named Crypto Astra who says Verge isn't doing anything. Dude, I don't know where you're from and what you do, but Verge is a community project, which means we do what people do. So as a community, you hold Verge. If you want to use Verge, you need to go out and do something about it. You can ask me for help. You can ask me for guidance. You can ask me to validate the information, sure. But I'm also a volunteer. I also have to pass my accounting and my math class, which the community won't do for me. So, I have to study, and I can't be there and hold your hand and do something for you. So if you have a company that needs information, that's what the core team is for. The core team is literally there to manage the actual, the more traditional business aspects and more traditional organizational aspects. But if you want something done, there's no better person than you to do it. So you need to go out and do something and ask us to help, and then that's it.
I feel like people just sometimes don't really understand that there are projects that, constantly create technologies, create tools, create mechanisms. And there are projects that are more centered around being a currency that can be used. Yeah. And I think that's the problem. That's why people, expect you to release every week something new.
Yeah, it's exactly this. I think, and this goes back for a longer period, the people who are in crypto for a long time were used to these I think crypto, the altcoins especially, and this is why I kind of get the Bitcoin maximalists that say every other altcoin is a shitcoin, because most altcoins basically were there as a Kickstarter project. I have this idea, buy my token, and then I'll make a chain, and then we can do this on the chain, and we can copy Ethereum's code and then do it slightly different. And that's what most other crypto is. I'm mentioning one in particular here, with the copying Ethereum, but like, you know, it was basically like, and then they all have, yeah, what's your timeline and what's your pride goal? And guys, chill. Verge is a currency. It came out as a currency in 2016. Like the crypto was there. Like the code came out and it's like, yeah, start mining Verge. It's there. There's no pre-mine. There's no funding mechanism in the blockchain. It was just, if you want to get Verge, you want to use Verge. I'm really sad I didn't discover Verge prior to 2017, like late 2017, because apparently people would like make it rain millions of Verge on Telegram and Discord. Like people are just dumping because it was worth like 1 or 2 sats. So, you know, like it was just there. It was just a currency that was designed to be used. And from then we just ramped up as the community got more organized. It went from Dogecoin Dark, which was fun, doing gift parties and tipping insane amounts, to being an actual project being used. So now people come in and they're like, you know, when you go on these new tokens for the 2021, like whatever token storm, I like to call it ape season and not alt season, because it's really ape together strong. Let's buy those like random ass tokens and hopefully it'll pump. So like these people come in and they're like, yeah, we're doing this. This is a smart contract. We own 90% of the supply. We're going to release this supply. Of course the price is going to be high. If I own 90% of 16 billion coins, whatever's left of 500 million coins that are there, of course the value is going to be high. And then people are like, yeah, you should do a coin burn. Yeah, dude, just send your Verge to a Bitcoin address and get rid of it, and you did your own coin burn, and now the value is going to be high. Like this, people have this notion that we're a centralized token or we're a centralized company trying to do something, and we're not. We're a community behind a distributed blockchain technology that wants to be used as a currency. And I will keep repeating this till I die. That's what Verge is. So if you want to see something done, do it yourself and use Verge. If you have a DeFi exchange or you have like your own blockchain doing your own project, accept Verge as a currency for whatever it is your blockchain does, and people can use you. I don't care. You do smart contracts on a side chain, do a wrap with Verge and exchange Verge for whatever it is your token. Use it as a currency, man. We're all supporting you. That's what we are. You're an exchange. You want to offer people the ability to cash out. Get Verge as a cash out option. We're a currency. That's it. That's all. Like,
have anyone ever like come up to you suggesting, you know, creating like a foundation, but so that this foundation could support you financially, or support those like individuals that would like to build, you know, something using Verge, but without like intermeddling much? So being like a, you know, non-related organization, like an investor of some kind.
Yeah, kind of. So that was my suggestion to Verge before I joined the core team, to be honest. I was like, yeah, guys, we need a foundation that like does this and this. But I think for this to work, for a truly decentralized foundation to exist, we would need smart contracts first. Once we have smart contracts, I think it would be really interesting to set up a kind of like voting mechanism on the blockchain that allows people to do stuff. It's a conversation that we should have at that point. But at the end of the day, you know, if I want to start a business saying, hey, I'm like Verge Financial and I'm going to register as Alex Ederer as a like company, and I'm going to use Verge and I'm going to look for investors to invest in me, but I'm going to use Verge, I can do this. So like nothing stops the community member to say, hey, I'm going to use Verge in my company, in my private company, and I'm looking for investors. Like if somebody wants to start an exchange, for example, and make a Verge only exchange and just list Verge against any other fiat pairing, nothing stops them from getting through their own network and making their own like, you know, like traditional IPO company and having Verge as a currency. Nothing stops them. So that would be an awesome project. I have a GitHub sponsor thing up on my Twitter. So if people want to sponsor me, I actually put a bunch of prices. I need $700 a month or 700 euros a month to pay off all my stuff. So if people want to fund my like living so I can work on Verge full time, they can. My dream would be to live in like a mobile home, so it'll never cost me much to live. But you know, I want to do other things as well. Like, I love Verge. Don't get me wrong; it's the best project out there because of this. But I also like to work on. I'm an ideas person, so I like to take ideas and see how I can improve on it. So this is like the goal of Verge is not to be foundational like some other cryptos, some major altcoins.
We're not going to mention them.
Yeah, exactly. But the goal is to continue that community feeling. So I'm afraid that if we start having a foundation, there's some developers that left another crypto foundation that I know, and there's some crazy drama going. And the moment there's pay involved, it starts to have these dramas and these things. And I feel that like people should volunteer on the Verge blockchain for 2 reasons. Do like mark me on Twitter. Join the Verge project to like improve on your blockchain development skills and learn and get part of the community, and then move on when you're done and do something else. That's totally fine. The network that you create, the people that you meet is still there, and then you can use them for different projects. I mean, like, you know, I'm drinking from my Note blockchain like coffee mug because I think Note is a great social media app. It has nothing to do with Verge. It's a crypto social media app that's like Android. It's on iOS and Android, but it's like a Twitter and Instagram. But it deletes your post after 24 hours, and you can tip people with Note's own cryptocurrency. And so, you know, like I also help them because it has nothing to do with Verge, but it's a cool project, and the idea of the project is super awesome, and that's what you should do. Use your networks to grow, and like, you know, if there was a Verge and Note swap, it would be the best thing. You guys should look into this.
Another marketing idea.
And you guys should join on Note so you guys can see. It's a pretty interesting community. Really good memes, and also cool people. I really like the people on there.
You got me at memes. You got me at memes.
I mean, I have a meme channel on Telegram, but I'm not consistent, so it doesn't grow. But yeah, basically, yes, announcement of announcement, Bane. We have announcements one day in the future. That's basically it.
Speaking of like crypto being truly decentralized and projects being less foundational and more decentralized, like some projects leaders, they do feel like we need still some like regulation mechanisms in place, because, you know, that would probably convert non-believers to believe in crypto and, you know, to propel mass adoption. Do you feel like there are still mechanisms that we could implement for that purpose, or like no regulations should be placed? Like to remain fully decentralized?
I mean, it depends on what you're doing with the blockchain. So I actually have a really good example. I was looking for a project that has nothing to do with Verge. Like I said, I do, you know, marketing for different companies and different stuff. So we were looking at blockchain in a supply logistics manner, and IBM has their own blockchain department, and they had a supply thing going with Maersk, right? Like the shipping company. And basically it failed because it was a centralized hyperledger that IBM owned with Maersk, but then the data belongs to IBM and Maersk and not the shipping ports, not these things. So I think the nature of international regulations and the nature of humanity is decentralization. I think centralization is a necessary evil in the sense that like sometimes you need a central place of access for power and whatever. Like that's why we have governments, and that's why because you need a certain level of structure to be able to build in. But at the end of the day, humanity develops over collaboration. So decentralization is also collaboration. So if you run, Verge is distributed first as a blockchain, but the community is decentralized, which means there's no one group. I think our largest communities are Turkey now, which is fairly new, and Netherlands and America. Those are the like 3 largest community. And basically in the core community, we're from all over the world, but basically no, Ben, Lloyd Rigby is not Swizzle. Lloyd is British Lloyd. Basically, you need people to participate. When Facebook wanted to create Libra, right?
Right.
The cool thing that was with Libra was that it was decentralized in the aspect that was major large companies backing the blockchain. Like it was decentralized that all these companies, there's a nice circle graph with all the companies participating in Libra that were backing this blockchain. It is decentralized. But like, you know, at the end of the day, there's like 50 companies that own almost all the major companies when you buy like any kind of food, like Core, for example, Coca-Cola, same thing in the pharmaceuticals industry, same thing in most industries. So it is decentralized, but at the end of the day, it's like 10 companies owning everything. So if you do one thing that's centralized, but then you work in an international capacity like Verge, by nature, it needs to be decentralized for it to work. You can't own a company. I mean, Facebook exists as a centralized data bank, and their servers are distributed all over the world to make it easier, but like it's still centralized. So a lot of pressure on Facebook comes from different countries saying, well, we're not allowed this, we're not allowed that. So Facebook tries to operate under US jurisdiction, but then, you know, when GDPR came by, they were like, okay, now we need to have GDPR laws. And I think there's a lot in the like early internet opening eras about how do you call it, centralization and pushing this culture on different countries. But if 2020 and 2021 how do you call it, showed us anything, is that there's a big cultural push against this Americanization of the world and centralization of one kind of thing. So I think if the laws are there, the laws should be to make sure that it's not centralized in one person's or one company's pockets. I think what we should see is international governments like the EU or NAFTA, or like these international institutions should protect the decentralized nature of blockchain to prevent the kind of like winner takes all, Amazon style, Facebook style, we were the first and now we own the market. Because at the end of the day, you don't want a monopoly. I mean, the last time the US government stepped down on a giant monopoly was Standard Oil, and then they destroyed it to make different oil companies. And I do hope to see the internet conglomerates get destroyed like this too. So it would prove me right, and it would prove my like trend of thought right, that we need decentralization, or fully distributed is my best, it's my dream. But you know, to prevent illegal stuff or actually unethical stuff, really, you need to have it decentralized, to have some sort of controls over especially social media and social platforms. But in terms of currency, I mean, we can't stop people from using it as a currency. But we can, as a community, we can definitely say, hey, we don't support this, so I don't want to see this. You know, like people don't need to be fan of Pornhub MindGeek, and they don't need to share anything that has to do with them, so that's fine. But like, that's on their aspect, but it's a currency. So at the end of the day, if you don't support an industry, don't share it.
Yeah, right. But you know, speaking of like cultural push, do you have any plans on penetrating the NFT market, for example?
So once we have smart contracts, I think it would be really nice to start pushing NFTs. Yeah, I think it would be awesome.
Contracts now, I guess.
Yeah, we needed them last year, but
Verge.
We needed them last year, but you know, like right now, if you, I think I think that like blockchain is like 4 gigs if you need to like bootstrap your wallet. And if we start having NFTs and we start having if we start having smart contracts, our blockchain is going to need way more server support. So also, if you're watching this video, you should go download our Qt wallet and run the blockchain, because the more people have the Verge wallet running, the more private and the stronger the network is. So run your Qt wallet. And yeah, actually, that's the first step. The first step to being part of the Verge community is just support the blockchain. But yeah, it would be awesome to have NFTs. And I think, let's be honest, I think the NFT boom in 2021 and late 2020 is absolutely insane. It's like little pictures and nonsense. But I talked with a lawyer in Texas, actually, and I was like, you know what would be cool about NFTs is using them as a form of like, when you buy a house and you need to do, you need to go see a, what's it
Real
called?
estate agent.
Not the real estate agent, but you know, when you file all the bank stuff and you pay some guy a percentage. I keep forgetting the names. I'm sorry. This is a problem with speaking multiple language, but like you go see someone. Oh man, I did this at the bank. I used to help these people. Anyway, so when you buy a house, before the bank gives you the mortgage, you go see somebody, and then they kind of make a contract between you and the owner, and then the bank gives you the money, and it's a loan, but this person's in the middle, and basically make sure the money is distributed properly. So you go see someone to do this, and NFTs could be an amazing way to do this. Combined with a smart contract, you can say, hey, this person will go and buy a house. So I'm going to say he's the owner of the house once this money is deposited through a smart contract, and then having a project like Swapzone, for example, within that smart contract, you can say, yeah, okay, I want the payout in Bitcoin, but my buyer is in Verge. So let's do a smart contract. When the money arrives there, then you can make an NFT saying, hey, this person bought the house, it's minted, that's the ownership of the house on the blockchain. And that would be awesome, because we're not talking about a link to a picture that's on a server somewhere. Now we're talking about just a string of hash saying the name of the person, the address on the blockchain, saying, hey, yeah, this string of hash proves that you own this house. I think that would be really awesome. It's also scary if governments start getting involved in this, because then we're getting into like the government knows everything. But if they do a blockchain that's centralized, I'm a big fan of Star Wars, right? And they have chain codes as an ID, like for all the people. And there's a new series of stars that just came out with the Bad Batch, and I'm like, that's how the Empire became so strong in so little time. They basically know everything about everyone on centralized, well, decentralized on different planets, I guess, within the Star Wars universe, but they have all this data. So I think it's important that that companies and open source projects like Verge offer these things so that companies can participate with Verge, but the blockchain isn't owned by one company, not owned by one foundation, so that the data belongs to the people that are running it. And Verge is a blockchain by the people for the people. So yeah, expect us.
That makes sense. And I would love to see that, actually. I would love to see you, doing the smart contract thing and entering new markets and doing all the things that you can do, with Verge. Let's just wrap it up with one last question. It's not really like decentralization related, but still touching upon like the news of yesterday or like Wednesday, matters of sustainability, and projects like promoting their eco-friendliness nature, or like telling about putting more efforts into becoming eco-friendly. Where does Verge stand right now if we were to talk about like being green or becoming green?
Could you give me a moment? I shared something about this yesterday on Telegram and also Discord. I sent it to someone, so I'm just going to go look at it real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
It was on CoinWarts, the Verge mining calculator, and the electricity cost to mine Verge in watts. The power consumption in watts to mine Verge was like 2,100 watts. so like 2.1 kilowatts, I guess. And yeah, like it costs roughly 10 cents per kilowatt to mine Verge. So we're not so energy demanding. Yeah, if you check on CoinWars, I'll put the link Verge Telegram if someone wants to put it on the stream.
Yeah, and we also make sure to attach all the links that you want us to attach in the description box later on.
So yeah, CoinWars, I emailed them yesterday because they have the really old Verge logo from when we went from Dogecoin Dark to Verge. So they're 3 logos behind. Yeah, basically we're not so demanding in terms of energy. Again, that's also because we have different methods of mining and also different algorithms. And yeah, that's basically, like, I'm pretty sure that, like, if everybody started mining Verge, like with the big mining pools that are around the world, it wouldn't be so green anymore. And that's because 70% of the world is still running on coal. So I think that's the biggest problem. Elon Musk, when he was talking about this, should also look at the fact that the US is mainly powered by coal. So at the end of the day, his cars are electric, but a coal nuclear power plant, if I'm not mistaken, is like 40% efficient, and a gas car is 90-some% efficient. So it's less polluting to have a gas car if you're charging on coal than it is to. So at the end of the day, they're just shifting the pollution from the individual person to the energy supply. I'm a huge fan of nuclear energy. The newer nuclear power plants that aren't being built, that should have been built by using thorium, are way less polluting in terms of, actually, even in terms of like green energy. If you look at the cost of mining for rare earth metals that you need to make solar panels and wind turbines, the footprint that you're leaving behind is humongous. So nuclear is a lot cheaper, especially thorium. I think the US under Nixon buried enough thorium to power itself for like, I think 200 years in exponential levels. It could be even more. And using thorium nuclear power plant, you could burn the waste fuel of existing nuclear power plants. So I think if we're looking at mining, it would be awesome to set up mining farms that have modular thorium nuclear reactors. But I'm too poor. But if someone has money and wants to develop this, we can definitely look at it. I'm a huge fan of thorium and nuclear energy. Russia is building a modular nuclear power plant right now that's on floating ships, I think in Murmansk. And I think it's awesome. China is also building something similar. And I think the world's moving towards nuclear energy. So once we do have this, I think it's the way to go. But to shift the blame of Bitcoin to how energy is consumed in society is really sad. I also think it's really sad that there are huge centralized mining farms, because it puts into question the decentralized nature of crypto when one country mines almost all of the blockchain. So it's a whole entire debate as well. But yeah, in brief, saying it pollutes is kind of like, yeah, dude, it pollutes, but it's also like you saying we shouldn't have subsidies when your entire company is profitable because of subsidies. Right. So yeah, at the end of the day, you know, banks, Apple says it's green, but Apple says it's green because it buys the right to say we're using only green energy by paying people who use green energy to say we're only using like green energy. They're just shifting the blame around using carbon credits. And like, yeah, carbon credits kind of work, but at the same time, it's a slow process. And companies just use this to shift the blame to different people. They buy the right to pollute, basically. And then Elon Musk saying, yeah, Bitcoin pollutes is like, yeah, okay, but count, like, how much real estate do banks need? How much material? Like, I worked for a bank in Canada, and like we were carbon neutral, but like, you know, we use printers. There's like a printer every 4 rows of like employees, and you know, all of this stuff. So at the end of the day, you know, you have the environmental footprint is also there, and it's not just the amount of carbon you produce. but it's also the landscape that you use. If everybody was mining at home using one graphic card hooked up to an external GPU unit, you know, and they were just mining on their computer instead of mining with farms, and now we're talking about truly distributed blockchain, then that's a lot less environmentally polluting, because now all of a sudden the energy demand is not all concentrated in one place. And that's also the issue when you talk about a grid, like grid energy, right? If everybody's living in the city, you need way more power to turn on the light bulb at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or at 4 o'clock when you come home from work or school, because everybody's turning on that light bulb. So you need way more energy because you're losing energy, because the hotter it gets, the more energy you lose. So this is something cool with Voice Life, because with wireless energy and graphene batteries, you'll be able to charge everything remotely without actually being part of like having a grid. So at the end of the day, it would be cool if you just have a tower like Tesla originally envisioned, not Tesla as in Elon Musk Tesla, but Nikolai Tesla, and just create radio waves that people can charge off of. So you now distribute the grid. But the problem with solar, windmill, and coal is it's centralized, and coal is like caveman energy. We're just going back to burning something and causing a fire and turning. So yeah, I think Elon Musk is just doing what Musk does, and that's what's best for him. So you don't become a billionaire by caring about everybody. You become a billionaire by caring about himself. And I mean, I've read his biography. I'm an entrepreneur-loving person. I think what he's doing is pretty awesome. Out of all the billionaires, he's definitely one of the cooler ones. But I also think that people in the market are too quick to jump on the bandwagon of, oh, billionaire X is backing my project, and so therefore he's cool. No, billionaire X is backing your project because it's free publicity. Like Elon Musk is in the media, sharing memes and being funny because it's free publicity. I'm sure the guy is really cool in real life, but like it's free publicity. He doesn't need to do what we were talking about, Coke earlier, and spend $1 billion a year on marketing, because people know who Elon Musk is because he says completely outlandish stuff. But he's also an engineer and also has some credentials to it. So he's using like Hyperloop, for example, is really cool technology that he promoted and pumped in the news a few years ago. And it's basically pneumatic tubes that existed from like way back when. There was actually pneumatic tubes in the old bank I worked at. They look really awesome. But then combine this with a like magnetic rail, so now you're pumping stuff within like so it goes even faster, and the technology is really cool. And this is what he does. He just does what's good for Elon Musk and says, hey, I'm at the forefront of technology, and any person can read any kind of book from the 80s and 70s with like future tech. I'm a huge fan of these stuff like Star Trek and the Dan Simmons' novels and things like this, and then say, hey, yeah, we kind of have the technology now, but it's separate. We're putting it together. So he does this and does it brilliantly. But I think crypto Twitter is just always just on hopium and always just, you know.
Yeah, they just do not really realize that it's sometimes just a marketing ploy rather than his own just opinion or vision of things.
Exactly. If you're to invest in crypto, like really invest, and I would never say invest in XVG, you buy XVG to spend XVG, hodl Bitcoin and throttle all the other altcoins you want, but Bitcoin and XVG are the ones you need for everyday life. But at the end of the day, if you're going to invest in a project in crypto, invest because the project is cool and there's like, there's you believe in what they're doing, and not in just because it has a funny name, a fluffy dog as a picture, or, you know.
Yeah, when there is a mission and when there are values that you.
Yeah, exactly. Like Trollcoin. I believe in Trollcoin because we troll people on Twitter. It's a really low sat project, but you know, I'm not going to throw money at it. I'm mining it with a Moonlander too, like these tiny USB powered miners, because I think it's a funny project. But it's a funny project. It's not like I'm not going to throw my life money in a funny project. This is what's wrong with people, and that's why there's a lot of people that are in crypto that are just like, it's a scam or a rug pull, or they're just angry at things for not advancing because they don't realize that it's an emerging technology. And unless you help this technology emerge, it's not going anywhere. No one's going to invest in your like altcoin or a side project if it's not doing anything. And if you're not doing anything with it, if you just have it on an exchange waiting for the value, like I'm going to buy X coin, put a sell order at 20% and then go back to bed. In which right do I have to then go, how come there's no news, sir? How come price is sideways? Man.
I mean, you're bossing around today. That's for sure.
Oh, I do this all the time. Just check Telegram. I straight up mute people. I muted someone on Facebook who has a company that never listed Verge. And since 2018, he was complaining about Verge not having news. And I'm like, yo, you have a company and you don't list Verge. Why are you in the community? At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, if you own a company and you're not like asking us how to use Verge and not checking vergecurrency.business, or you're not, you know, using the resources you can to accept Verge, what are you doing in this project? Sell and move on.
Right.
Like you could sell at a loss, find a low SAC coin and then just wait. Sorry, yeah, go on.
Yeah, no. Considering the fact that you can create your own like use cases for Verge, you know, like wait.
Like, you know, there's people selling all kinds of crap on Reddit, on Facebook, on eBay. You can straight up just put an advertisement and say, hey, man, you guys want to see me eat ramen? I'll eat spicy ramen and cry and have like really bitch lips and pay me 100 euros of Verge. I'm not going to say the value of like the amount of Verge I want because it changes. But like, you know, I'm not going to suffer free. So, you know, anybody can do this. Anybody can say, hey, yeah, I'm going to Twitch this game. And if you want to you want to tip me, well, like get somebody and make a Twitter bot and accept Verge, you know, like it's at the end of the day, it's what you do to make the value. It's not, I bought Verge on an exchange, I'm keeping it there and I'm hoping a value goes up. No, it's like a currency. I don't know how other ways. I've been repeating this for so long that at the end of the day, it's like, look, man, if you have Verge and you bought Verge on an exchange and you're waiting for the price to go up, fine. But don't come here and ask me when the news is going to pump. Like, it's like I bought the euro and I'm hoping the US dollar is deflated because they have an oil crisis right now. And I'm going to buy back the US when they have a new civil war. Like, I hope you guys don't have a civil war and I hope you're okay. Please don't put gas in plastic bags, guys. It's not a good idea. But like this kind of logic, when people tell me like when pump, I'm like, dude, do you buy the euro because you want somebody to say, hey, yeah, tomorrow the euro is worth $2 US? No, you buy the euro because you're going on vacation in Mallorca. Or you buy the euro because you're visiting or road tripping through the land. Like, but I personally say, yeah, it would be awesome if you have Verge and I can go from the US, Canada, to Europe, to Russia, to Turkey and just spend Verge. That would be my dream. You know, do like the Bitcoin family and travel the world and spend and just use Bitcoin and get around with Bitcoin. That's what the Verge family is, you know, like that's what we are. We're international distributed currency so that people can use us from Korea to Antarctica to everywhere, and you know, one day on the moon and maybe on the Mars colony, you know, that's what we should be.
We should speed up then, you know, to make it before Dogecoin.
I mean, yesterday yesterday that Musk tweeted that he's working with Dogecoin developers to make Doge greener?
Are there developers?
That's also when I read it, I was like, is there developers? I mean, there are people who develop like stuff for like, you know, like APIs to use Dogecoin in a wallet or whatever. But like, I don't know if there's any like blockchain development that's still being done on Dogecoin. But I mean, you know,
that's another marketing ploy of Mr. Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's why I call him McMuskie. And then soon he's going to have the coin of the day. Like, you know, McAfee had his coin of the day in 2018. So now Musk is going to have green coin of the day, guys. And then you're going to have all these like sad, like people being like, shill me, shill me, shill me. And it's like, no, man, don't do this. Have dignity.
Yo, I've come up with 3 ideas we should use, while you were talking. We should mint 3 things as NFT when you're done with all this smart contract things. First one, a video of you eating ramen. The second one, a video, maybe an audio of you reading out those, random, strange, weird things from people that do not really understand like how sexual education works. And the third one, you ranting about, all those altcoins, about marketing ploys of Elon Musk and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Nikki mint the picture of me eating ramen with my lips. She knows what I'm talking about. I had the most sultry lips. Like girls at clubs would be jealous of how big my lips were after eating that ramen. It was like this Korean ×5 spicy ramen. And like I literally ate the noodles and died. I was sweating from everywhere and I was losing vision. It was not pleasant. It was. I've eaten like ghost pepper chicken wings back in Canada at McGibbon's, and I had 2, and like I really died. Like these things are so spicy. People who eat this, man, you guys are insane, and I love you, and I'm really sad I can't do this. But yeah, I'll let Nikki. She might get rich off of a picture of me with these lips, but this ramen was painful, man.
Ramen is a new technology for, having your lips done instead of just filling it with like different acid liquids.
Yeah, I guess, it helps digest whatever wasn't digested from the week before. Yesterday I had, it was really odd. It's like this Korean cheese ramen where you cook it and then you remove the water from it, just leaving a little bit. And then like KD, you add powdered cheese in the hot sauce. And I didn't test the sauce. I just put the whole thing in, and I went to the toilet like 5 times yesterday, and I was just like, I think I'm ready for a colonoscopy. All I had today was coffee. Like,
that's nice
my
to know.
stomach was purged, man. This was so painful. But okay. I have to try at least once,
You know what? I've actually wanted to, finish this AMA session with like a personal touch, because I feel like we talk a lot about projects, their milestones, the technology and so on, but we kind of rarely talk about real people behind the projects, about those mundane things like you've just mentioned now, the toilet. And I just have like 2 questions. One is very random. The second one is less random. So the first one, are you a man of science or a man of faith, or both in one?
Oh boy. So I don't believe in any man-made religions just like this. I definitely like science, but science is a tool, right? So you shouldn't put faith in science, but you should put faith in how it's done and the scientific method. But there definitely is spirituality and understanding how the world works. So I really enjoy, this is really weird, but I really enjoy sitting in a forest and I look at trees and I like to follow with my hand from the root of the tree to the leaves. And I feel like you can feel the energy of the tree. And I don't believe in this kind of all this this weird alternate new age witchery stuff about trees having whatever, but there's definitely information that's being exchanged, and science shows this. Like, for example, mycelium is the roots of mushrooms, and mycelium networks work with tree roots to pump the stuff that trees need from other trees that have too much of to keep the tree alive. So there is an internet of things in nature, and that's actually all connected, and we're part of this. At one point, there's such a spirituality and understanding that at one point in life, we were all the same multi-level cell. And go back earlier to this, and we were basically a mono, we were one cell, and we were all connected to that one cell. And we evolved from this. So there's definitely, I have a dog, and I make fun of it, and I'm like, haha, I won the genetic lottery. You evolved into a 4-legged companion, and I get to choose what you eat and where you sleep and what you do, and you can't say anything because I got lucky and evolved, and I am me, But right. There's definitely spirituality in this, and I love it. Think about it. If we ever find a planet like Earth somewhere, we can't eat whatever's on there because even though the atoms are the same, our body breaks it down to this, but it knows how to break it down because we share common data. So if we find a rabbit, right, on a planet and Alpha Centauri, the nearest sun, there's a rabbit there. I don't think we can eat it because it's evolved completely separate to us. Unless it evolved on the same kind of like asteroid that hit us and hit them, then maybe we have some cellular like connection. But at the end of the day, our DNAs and everything is the history of the planet, and there's huge beauty in this. So I'm a deeply spiritual person when it comes to my connection to the world and to other things, but I am definitely not religion. I think Star Wars offers me more comfort than any kind of man-made religion. I think the teachings of the Sith are way more awesome than the Jedis. Screw the Jedis, it's all about passion. But at the end of the day, I think understanding science is a tool to understand the world. And Carl Sagan, I had all his books and someone stole them off of me in a bag when I was asleep in the bus. And it was one of the saddest days of my life. I bought all those books at a garage sale for like 25 cents for each book, from Cosmos to Demon Haunted World, which is one of my favorite books. And I fell asleep and someone stole my backpack, and there's nothing of value in the backpack except these books. And I'm kind of sad, and I hope that person took the time to read these books because I grew up as a Christian fundamentalist, and these books opened my world to a huge understanding of, like, I respect all beliefs and all values, but I think at the end of the day, we share one tiny rock and we all come from the same place. So it doesn't matter what you believe in as long as you respect each other. And that's why I said earlier, I don't believe in morality, because I don't think there's an absolute good and an absolute evil, but I believe there's ethics. And having an ethical understanding of things is way more important, because I won't say don't do drugs because it's bad. I'll say you might not want to sniff that line of coke because it's going to injure your brain, you know? So that's my thing. If you want to, go ahead. By all means, I'm not going to stop you. If the laws in your country don't stop you, of course, I'm not going to encourage you to break the law. I don't want you to go to jail and blame me for it. I think that's why I think Portugal did the right thing by saying we're just going to, sorry, I'm playing with I love playing with these.
Fine. Go ahead.
Basically, I think that's why they do a great job, because it's not moral and it's not moralistic in attitude. It's ethical, and they tell people, hey, yeah, do whatever it is you want as long as you're not hurting people. So then it's always funky, right? If you're in a social healthcare system like many countries in Europe have, is doing drugs and getting completely destroyed on some things okay? Should it be okay? Like, you can have this debate and then we can actually discuss, but if your point of view is it's bad because my God says it's bad, nowhere in the Bible does it say don't do drugs. The Quran is a bit more clear about this. So with due respects to my Muslim brothers, they actually have some guideline that says, yeah, don't do this. But for Christians to say you shouldn't do this, it's like, man, Jesus got hammered with wine. So, like, he turned seven pitchers of water into wine. Dude knew how to have a good time. So if you believe this, then you should let people have their good times. So that's,
I was thinking about like rephrasing it and saying spirit or spirituality instead of like faith, but yeah. I've just enjoyed this whole rant about religion.
I mean, like I said, I'm a deeply spiritual person, and I miss Canada for this because camping was a lot easier. You can leave. I used to live in Montreal, and you can leave the city, and you're 1 hour outside of the city, and you can find like campgrounds and like forests and places to just connect yourself. And I mean, I live in northern Germany, so there is some, like, the more towards the North Sea you go, the less populated it is. But I really miss living in a place that had more forest. I lived in the south of the Czech Republic in Brno. and it was the closest thing to feeling at home I did, even though I speak no words of Czech. I mean, I know pivo, which is beer, so, and you know, like nazdrave, but it's similar to Russian and Polish and almost all of these like Slavic-based languages, or I shouldn't say Slavic, but yeah. So I loved it because, yeah, there's all these greeneries and these hills everywhere, and the dorm for my school was I was at the Brno Institute of Technology, and we were outside of the city, so there's forest right behind my dorm. So if I needed 10 minutes alone, I could just go in, touch a tree, and just close my mind, and I have ADD, so just recenter on myself, and it was just amazing. And I mean, I'm lucky here. I have a backyard that's very green, but you can hear cars, and you can hear this bustling and moving of cities, which I love. But yeah, spirituality-wise, nature is my thing. So stars, when you can see stars at night, you can see the Milky Way. The first time I was in Germany was the first time I saw stars this bright, because in North America, even if you're 1 hour of the city, there's light pollution. And I had vertigo. It was such a strong feeling of like, oh my God, I'm so small on this rock. And like, I'll always remember, it was 2017. I came to visit my ex-girlfriend's family. I walked up the stairs to her parents' house, and I was like, wow, so many stars. And I had never seen this except in like really northern Canada, but now we're in a city, you know, and I see this many stars, and it just shook me. And like, it's such a strong feeling that like there's something bigger than us out there. And this sense for me is like, it's what keeps me grounded in reality, that I'm just another human. There's 7 billion of us. We have no idea what we're doing. We're just all trying to be a little bit happier than we were the day before. And we're just getting along, and we try to help each other. So I'm always trying to help people, and I do this and that, because at the end of the day, we're all going to die. And if you believe in God and you believe in heaven, then good for you. I hope it's true for your sake. And if not, man, I did my best in life to be a little bit better than I was the day before. And that's all that matters. So
now let's talk about like distancing and isolation then. There's a radio program on BBC4, I believe, where celebrities should choose a book, a recording, and an item that they would take to a deserted island. Which book and which like song or an album maybe you would take with you?
So I would take System of a Down, Mesmerize, Hypnotize as my album. This is my go-to music whenever I feel any kind of stress. It's these two, or Lamb of God, which is like heavy metal or death metal or American new metal. I don't know how you want to call it, but Lamb of God is absolutely awesome. I don't know which album though. This would be really hard. But which item? I'd take my Kindle. And then
you can take, you know,
I have all of Carl Sagan's books on there, so yeah. I could read these. But right now I'm reading a book by Netflix. I actually bought it in print too, so I could take notes on it. That's my only criticism of the Kindle, is you can't write on the pages. And I write ideas that I get sporadically. I mean, like here, my camera, just like, look at all these notes. I have paper everywhere, just like taking notes, because I get ideas, a million ideas per second. So yeah, if I could take my Kindle and an MP3 player from like, or a Zune, actually the Zune HD was the best thing Microsoft ever made, and have like Lamb of God, System of a Down, Red Hot Chili Peppers, just these, maybe old school Eminem, and I'd be happy. Honestly, sometimes I wish I could just do this and disappear on an island and let whatever happen. But at the same time, the world, the technology, blockchain, the Internet of Things, it's so interesting, and it gets me so passionate. And seeing the development of humanity is so passionate that, like, no, Nikki, don't post that picture on Twitter. Make the NFT when it comes out, and that's it. Just keep it until then. I'm pretty sure it was already on Discord, but yeah, yeah, you know, there's so much stuff. I don't know, man, music is so hard for me to choose. Like, I have phases where I only listen to one artist for forever. And lately it was Gorillaz, and this winter was Prince, and last year was like Rush. and then like the Canadian band, and then man, I don't know. It really depends. Music for me is contextual, so I don't really care about any musician or anything unless somebody's like, I really like this. This means this to me, and then they show me, and then I value this music because it connects me to a person that I may not be in my life anymore. System of a Down reminds me of my childhood. I used to play baseball, and man, I forget the name of the song, but I Cry When Angels Deserve to Die in My Self-Righteous Suicide. I know the lyrics, I just don't remember the title. Used to play when I played baseball, and I kept forgetting the name of the song, see, to this day. And my sister was like, no, it's this song, and here, I got you the CD, so it has this connection to me, you know? So, and yeah, these musicians have that connection. And Lamb of God was one of my friends. Was like, yeah, he drove me around, and it was like, this is really awesome music, and it connects me to a friend of mine that I talk to once a year, you know. And yeah, any of these things, if I hang out with people and they're like, yeah, this music means this to me. Actually, when I was in the Czech Republic in 2020, this he was a communist musician that sang Bina Maya in German, and he was Czech or Slovak, I don't really know, who died in like, I think November or October 2019. And my like Slovakian friends in the Czech Republic were devastated. And it was like, they're like, yeah, he was a great musician for almost all the former Eastern Bloc countries, And I got completely hammered, and we were crying together and singing these songs. They found the songs on YouTube with the English subtitles, so I had a clue as to what they were singing about. And I thought that was awesome. And like, I actually have like on Spotify, I have a playlist of his music, because when I missed the Czech Republic, I remember when we were dancing on tables with like my drunk Slovakian friends that I really miss, you know, like this music, it connects me to a whole other world that I have no right to be connected to, but we're all human and we all share these moments together, and that's what connects us. So to me, like, that's the value of blockchain too. It connects us through technology and through community.
It's all about connection, right? After all, yeah.
Exactly.
And could you finish a sentence? The future of, could you finish the talk, please? We're wrapping it up.
I just saw that a man of nature and spirit. I'm a man of merging nature and technology would be my dream goal.
Could you finish the sentence, please? The future of crypto is?
Monsoon? No, just kidding. The future of crypto, oh man, is the future of humanity, I think.
Wow, that's beautiful. I kind of yeah, go on.
I really think that's it. It's the future of like humanity. If you look at like the history of politics, and you look at the history of organized religion, and you look at the history of humanity, we went from like, you know, god kings in like Egypt and old China with the God Emperor, to like medieval kings that were appointed by God, to like governance that was semi-democratic but like still really highly controlled by religion, to governments that are like, now the new religion is the economy. And we're moving away from these centralized ideas and centralized values to, like, for example, I live in Germany, and the political system of Germany was built by the Allies after World War II to prevent the centralization that Hitler did, right? And they got together in COVID, and it took forever for a centralized response from Germany, because each state had their own measures, and now they have legal systems in place. So if there's a pandemic in the future, they have an idea what to do to prevent the kind of chaos that everybody had, because no one really knew what to do. And basically, we went away from the centralized god kings to centralized government, to now a lot of my conservative friends back home that worked in conservative parties are like, yeah, we want regions to control themselves and to be closer to, the farmer's town should have a say as to how they run their own, and not necessarily Ottawa telling the fishermen, this is how you have to do life. So, for example, I lived in Montreal, which is the biggest French city in North America. I think it's the second biggest French city in the world, but Montreal is also heavily English, and Quebec City gets to tell Montreal, Quebec City has like, I think 400,000 people, gets to tell Montreal that has like over 1 million people how to deal with minority language. But Quebec City is unilingual francophone, and Montreal is a plurality. Like, I think French and English are the two largest spoken, and then it's Russian and Arabic. So it's like, and Italian also has a huge community there. And you have these people that are 2 hours away by car telling people how to behave and what language they should speak in and whatnot. And like, there's always this tug of war, right, between central planning and like distributed planning. And I think last semester I had an econ class, and the professor was very much into decentralized economy, and he got me to realize basically that this is where the future is going, and blockchain gives us this. So I think the future of humanity is the information is centralized on technology with the blockchain, but through smart contracts and stuff, you could do like Estonia and have like e-citizenship and have all the data converted and like protected in a blockchain, but also accessible to the people that need it without having like, if you're a doctor, you can access the blockchain and see people's data, but then other people, I don't know, the tax attorney or tax government wants to see your tax money. They don't have access to your medical data because it's encrypted in the blockchain. So with smart contracts and stuff like this, you can go away. Estonia doesn't use blockchain. It uses servers for it, but you can move away from the server structure, and you can move away to cloud storage on decentralized servers, and just convert the data into hash and have different government offices working with these. So it's distributed. It's no longer distributed. It's decentralized, but it's no longer an essential thing. And you can do governments like this. If I go and tomorrow I'm running for elections, and I promise you I'm going to build the roads. I think roads is a huge topic of elections in Eastern Europe. The roads are terrible. And like governments successfully, like my friends from Ukraine, and told me, yeah, we elect people to build roads, and then they build 10 kilometers of roads because of corruption. And it's like, you know what? You get elected, but the budget is on a smart contract, and if the money isn't transparently distributed to people who are bidding for these contracts, the money doesn't go, and you get booted out of office. How awesome would that be? If your elected official would be held to the standards of blockchain, and like you make your campaign as a like DeFi platform instead of decentralized finance, it's depot. I call it depot, and decentralized politics. And then you basically say, I'm going to do this, and if I don't do it, well, goddamn, I'm going to jail, and the money's not going to my cronies. And I think that's the future. I really do.
So the future is distribution, spirituality, and depot at some point.
Yeah, I think once Verge has smart contracts, I'm going to work on a depot project.
We would be there.
I just came up with this while talking to you. This is a brand new idea. I've been thinking of, like, 2 years ago, I was thinking of making a decentralized brewery that works on the libertarian like ideas of blockchain, where you don't need to anybody can come in and then put in their keys, and then they get paid the value of their work. So if I come in only on Monday and I work 10 hours and I don't come in, when they sell beer, I get paid for that 10 hours, and all the profit is distributed. Software would be a smart contract that's auto-managed. You don't need management. You just need like quality control. But I think depot is a way cooler idea.
You just generate ideas, like governments print money. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's my currency is ideas. I trade in ideas.
Okay, on that beautiful note, I think we should wrap it up, because we've been talking for 2 hours. That's insane. I mean, should we be ashamed of ourselves? I don't think so. We love
I
to
talk so much. I could
Yeah.
talk all day. I need to eat a ramen now. I'm running low on salt in my system.
Okay, we'll wrap it up then. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Make sure to subscribe to Alex, to Verge Currency. We'll leave all the links in the description box. Make sure to get XVG on Swapzone as well at the best rate with no registration and no custody, because yet again, guess what? Not your keys, not your crypto. That was very lovely chatting with you, Alex. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pauline. It was a great interview. And yeah, I hope people use Swapzone, trade your other coins, and send XVG to Gil so that we can get his Verge going. If you have another project, send XVG to Gil, and instead of your name, ask him to put your project next to it. The 5 biggest donors get their names placed in a strategic position, so let the bidding wars go. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, then we'll kind of have to wrap it up. Thank you all so much yet again. Bye-bye, guys.